I believe we are in the golden age of creativity and in the golden age of the marketer.
Lara, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so pleased to be here. Thanks, Janet.
So often it's easy to think about Adobe as transforming technology, but as we've talked about, it's really about building a business system.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think about that when we've talked about that notion of reimagining the
Yeah.
way we really work? What does
Yeah.
that mean to you?
So 100%, it's all about systems thinking now. And in fact, I've been saying the chief marketing officer is now the chief marketing orchestrator. All of these things have to be that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And so this idea of orchestration and the systems thinking is more important than ever.
Yeah, so connecting all the things across paid, owned, earned internally, transforming teams, bringing in external partners. How does that change things for your people? Has it changed any of the roles?
So, as we think about taking that systems approach, we have been transforming the organization, and where we were in the past organized sort of more vertically. Now, what we're doing is I've actually created a customer marketing team that almost becomes this hub of the wheel, but then they become the center where, they're now orchestrating, like I just mentioned, all of the touch points, right?
And I've heard you talk about it as really being customer centric and really working from the outside
Yeah.
in. So it's less about working from the channel out and sort of that, I think the way we used to think about it might be specialists and channels sort of with a campaign mentality and really working from the outside in and sort of thinking about how do I look at that holistic experience that I want to create for that customer.
So that pod I was talking about, that is a customer marketer that is working from the customer back. Customer centric, customer obsessed, because the insight still matters. When you're adding AI, the insight still matters. And, there's still typically a brief. We're moving much faster. It's not a bucket brigade from brief to outputs or outcomes, but that working customer centric, deeply falling in love with the customer problems, not just the solutions, but the problems of the customer is really the name of the game. Even in an AI era like this, the human is still on the other side.
And when you think about unlocking and unleashing human creativity, what
Yeah.
does that mean to you?
I believe we are in the golden age of creativity and in the golden age of the marketer, because if you no longer are sort of bound by the intricacies of the tools or the technology and you can do a prompt, you are freed up because anything in your mind's eye can be prompted, changed if you wanted, ideated against, and then created.
So you're really inviting new people into the process and
Oh,
to
yeah.
unleash their creativity.
It's a democratization. So I'm very optimistic about more people being able to create than ever.
So as you build this new ecosystem for humans, I'm curious, how does it cause you to think differently about business outcomes and how you
Yeah.
conceptualize the business coming together and driving growth?
Yeah. As a marketer, you are gold on business. However, with that said, you can put KPIs or OKRs, whatever your terms are, in front of now a cross functional group of people working in a pod and have them all march toward that North Star metric. And increasingly, as you think about a world where instant gratification, the ability to prompt and see what comes out the other side has become increasingly a more, a North Star metric for some of our, in particular, our consumer products. And it's because that engagement matters. So monthly active users, weekly active users, DAO, daily active users, because engaging and prompting, all of that is part of that MAU as a KPI metric. And ultimately, ARR, in our case, what we call, the recurring revenue, it does come, but that MAU is becoming more important.
That's a wonderful story. Well, thank you so much for joining me here, Laura. I really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Great to see you, Janet. Thank you for having me. And thanks, BCG, for being a great partner.